Flash car is very light on downforce indeed. 5th position, Jason Tay is also having a good race. The teammate of Muhammad Aleef, he's now in P5. And let's see where Jason can get a good exit out of this, because we know the Team Flash cars are light on downforce. Oh, it looks like Aleef has got past Josh Perwin in P2 as well. And look at them, they're jostling for position right now. But the JMX Phantom car ahead of Jason Tay here is so heavy on downforce. Look, he's just getting eaten up down the straights. Oh, and Jason Tay, almost survived somehow. Jason Tay has gone up to 3rd place. So the second Team Flash car doing a great job to get right up there with Nakib, as Aslan has got up to P4. So good job by the Malaysian up to P4. And Josh Perwin just struggling a bit there in P5. So struggling a little bit at the moment. Had good pace in the Black Arts car, but just falling down the order a little bit. Just right on board with Aleef Hamilton. You can see the DRS is open right now. You can see it flashing in the bottom left, and he's just closing the gap to Kalen Chin. Oh, Kalen is looking heavy on downforce. No, but Kalen holds it. He doesn't bother defending. He knows he's got enough of a gap. That's smart driving by the Australian. He looks calm. He's looking in the rearview mirror. You can see Kalen Chin at the bottom left. He's looking in the rearview mirror. He knows Aleef is there. But Kalen has to have faith in his ability right now. He's shown good pace. I think Aleef has closed the gap, but he's closed the gap because of the DRS. I think if Kalen can just stay mistake-free, maybe there's a chance the young 14-year-old can stay out front for the win.
Look at that. The cars are getting closer and closer into the hairpin. Aleef goes onto the inside, Kalen on the outside. Does Aleef have the line? Yes, he does, but Kalen on the switchback gets back at him and he retakes the lead. Aleef might actually have the DRS this time, but unfortunately then Kalen has the better run out, and now he's going to defend it through the Mercedes-Benz arena. Great driving from both of them. Kalen then holding on for dear life here. His tires, no, he's actually slipped it. Aleef will now go for it. He takes the lead for the first time in this race.
Wow, a rueful smile by Kalen Chin. He just made a mistake through that left-hander, didn't he? Maybe he had a slow down penalty. No, I don't think he had a slow down penalty. Just made a mistake, and that allowed Aleef to come through. Now, can Aleef break the gap? Can he disappear? Or at the opposite side, can Kalen hang on? Oh, Kalen makes a mistake. He runs wide again. Oh, another mistake by the Australian. But look how close Nakib. He just seems to have no issues with dirty air right now. And he's really right on the back of him. He's coming down, breaking down here for this corner. Ooh, I think that was Leona Chin that just spun in sympathy. He was watching me trying to get out of the way. Now look at this, Nakib's got the DRS. He's using the DRS. Can he use this DRS to catch up to Aleef Hamilton as well in P1? Look at that, he's closing the gap to the leader as well.
Yep, and well, Kalen's not putting up that much of a fight because he knows that his tires are completely shot. He tries his best to get back at Nakib there, but unfortunately nothing doing for him. He's going to have to hold on for 3rd place. It will still be the best finish of the season so far for him, but he'll have to wait for another race to actually claim that elusive win that has escaped him so far.
So this is the question now. We've got 2 laps to go, and my big question is, how far away is Nakib from Aleef? Because if Nakib can find a bit more time, he'll be within a second, and he might be challenging for the race win. Look, he's coming down, he's closing the gap right now. Wow, this is going to be too close to call. If that's coming down for the hairpin, will he be able to come down the outside? Look, Aleef covers the inside. Ooh, contact between the 2 of them.
Ooh, and they're still touching. In fact, the front wing of Nakib touches the rear tire of Muhammad Aleef. Luckily, Aleef got away with that one because it would have easily been a puncture for him, because we saw that last time out when Nabil hit the side of Nakib. And in fact, here is Kalen was hit by Nabil last time out. He had got a puncture. Kalen's now coming back at Nakib Aslan. Nakib held on to that quite well through the Mercedes-Benz arena, and it looks as though the top 3 then will stay where they are, including the fact that Jason Tay is just in there in 4th. But Muhammad Aleef, through sheer perseverance and luck, manages to hold on to the lead all the way to the end. Fake goes through the back marker. We'll enjoy. That cost him a bit. Now Nakib's actually right back at him. It's going to be a close finish. The top 4 within a second of each other. This is going to be one of the closest finish in E1. But it's Aleef who takes victory here in Hockenheim. Look at the sheer relief on his face. And Nakib then, well, looks a bit disconsolate, but I think he'll be happy with the 2nd position, despite the fact that he didn't qualify well. And when they go out now, race 2 is underway at Hockenheim, and it's a good start for Ayman Aziz. In fact, Ayman actually gets a tailbot run. There's Josh Perwin. Perwin actually goes around the outside of Ayman, takes 2nd. They're going to go side by side. No, Ayman Aziz gets a clear run. Josh Perwin 2nd, and he's going to try dive for the lead. No, he doesn't. Perwin actually holds it back. Ayman is being attacked by Miko Anasi as the field now stream through the Parabolica for the very first time in the 2nd race.
There's Ayman and Josh in P1 and 2. There's Ayman in the RSG car, the blue RSG car in P3. Josh there looking to the outside goes around the outside of Ayman. Not sure if he's able to do it. There's a safe house car there in P4 as well. So it's super close at the moment as they come out of turn 6, going through the flat out turn 7. Whoa, I think Josh is going to go try and go down the inside of turn 8. Is there space? Yes, he is. Josh goes through and he just about squeezes through and he's up to P1.
Ayman Hakim goes through as well. He's up to second. He's running better at Hockenheim this time around. Third is Miko Nasi, and fourth, Ayman Hazik.
Wow, so Miko Nasi up there to P3 as well. So that's a good performance by the safe house driver. We know how quick he is. And he's within DRS range now. Miko Nasi, right, was he using the DRS? He should be using the DRS. Yes, he is. But the RSG car is super quick down the straight as well. So both cars running light on downforce. Maybe the RSG car even lighter. Yeah, Nasi not close enough to do the overtake at the moment. Mohammed Ibrahim in the other Stratus Motorsport car up to P5, so that's a good job by him. And then just behind Ibrahim, look at that, Presley Martono in the JMX car is also right there. Yeah, so there's Martona, and behind Martona you got Aleef and Nakib, so they're coming up as well. But we're just right on board right now with Martono and Ibrahim right now. You see Ibrahim on the right hand side, and there's Martono there in the orange car, JMX Phantom. It is a bit confusing, isn't it, the JMX Phantom car being the same color as Team Flash, but there are some small subtle differences.
And we're watching now AR Muhammad Aleef. Aleef is right behind Prezi Martono. He's going to be take 2 again. We saw them battling in the first race. Now Aleef actually has the DRS again this time. He's going to go right behind Martono. Is Martono going to defend? Not this time. He's actually almost looking like he's going to let him through serenely. And in fact, Aleef's going to go on the inside. Who's going to be the latest on the brakes? It is Martono, but Martono goes wide and he opens the door up for Nakib Aslan to actually go through. So Nakib actually not making the progress that we all wanted actually.
Yeah, so there's Presley there up to, Aleef there up to P6, so that's good there for the championship leader. Wow, is he going to get to the front? Can he make it 4 wins out of 4 races, 100% record? Josh Perwin there right now is running away at the moment. He's got a 2-second lead. He's pushing really hard though. So the top 3 really is all going to be about tyre conservation. Let's go a little bit further back. There's a Fadli Rahman right now in the second the JMX cars. He's only 2 positions behind Presley Martono, so he's having a better race too. Kalen Chin's just behind him in P10. Mohammed Nabil, who's been a bit quiet, is just a little bit further behind these cars. And you can see Jason Tay. Jason Tay's not had a good race. There he is right behind Nabil, so he's nowhere. Well, not nowhere, but he's not had a good first few races, so he's a little bit further back. But he's right all over the back of Nabil. Is he going to look down the inside? No, not close enough. So perhaps he'll wait later on. A bit further back, Juktin Chung is not having a good race at the moment. He was so quick in practice, but he's struggling at the moment right now, and he's right behind Whelan Choi. Oh, dives down the inside. Good move there by the Z Challenger car. Really good move. I think he did not have a good first lap, so he's trying to make his way back up the field after a poor first couple of laps. You've got the Vietnamese team, Long there. Whoa, he's battling with Lance Lau with I1 Racing. So this is the top of the Vietnamese team's drivers. Long there doing a good job. He finished in the points in round 1, but he's having to fend off Lance Lau. Lance Lau there looking really good down the back straight. Oh, nice move there. And Lau just going down, breaking down the outside. Has he got the move made? No, he's covering the inside at the moment. And Long there just takes back the position at the moment. Good fight. Great battles all the way up and down the field. But there's Lau there right now. Oh, yeah, losing the... Oh, down the inside though. Good move there. So some good battles all the way up and down. It's as fierce at the back as it is at the front. Josh Perwin is looking good. Look, big gap between him. Miko Nasi in P2. Ayman Hakim has fallen back in P3. And let's look at this battle for 4th position. Wow, Hazik is still there in 4th position, but he's getting overtaken by Aleef. And as they're going through turn, there was 2, 3, and 4, and runs wide. Mohammed Ibrahim is right behind him as well. And there we go. Let's ride on board with Aleef right now. He's going down the inside of Hazik. He's making it easy for him at the moment as he brake for turn 6. Ibrahim though is right behind him. So dives down the inside of Hazik. Great move by the Indian. And great move. We did not see him in race 1, and here he is coming strong in race 2.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, he was a bit anonymous in that first race, but nonetheless, he's making up for it in the second race. And that move will definitely do him a lot of wonders because he got around one of the faster drivers who came through the GP Lead 4, which is Ayman Hazik.
There's Kalen Chin. He's getting quite racy as well. They're all getting a little bit racy. They're trying to get closer up. Nakib again is having a quiet race. Nakib is just in front of Kalen Chin, having to defend at the moment. Kalen Chin down the inside of Nakeeb. Good move by the Australian. Slides right, but holds onto the position. Great job there. And Nakeeb's gone backwards. So Nakeeb, again, very slow start to this race too.
I think that might be the technique for him to do, because he did say in interview just now he just wanted to watch over the rear tires, and indeed all 4 corners now, because it's a longer race and he might just want to keep those tires alive long enough to come through the halfway point and pit. Meanwhile, Kalen actually did an absolutely beautiful send behind the drivers right in front of him on Pressing Martono, and to get up to the position where he was right now. So Kalen down on the charge.
Let's run through the order. There's Josh Perwin in P1, Mikko Nasi there in P2. Ayman Nakeeb in P3, and look at that, Aleef Hamilton, or Muhammad Aleef, getting a lot closer to Ayman, so that's looking good. Muhammad Ibrahim there in P5 is doing a good job there at the moment, holding off Ayman Haziq and Kalen Chin. And of course, Nakeeb Aslan in P8 with Pressing Martono and Jason Tay rounding out the top 10.
And that back marker, that Vietnam car really got in the way of everybody there. Nakeeb actually went a bit wide, and that might open up the room for Kalen to come back at him. In fact, Kalen actually got overtaken by Nakeeb there, so Nakeeb, out of our cameras, has actually gotten that position back. But Kalen's fighting here through the parabolica. He's got the DRS. He's going to go around the outside. Nope, he's not going to make it this time unless he breaks ultra deep and goes for the switchback like he tried on Aleef. Just couldn't this time. So Nakeeb manages to hold on to 7. But that back marker, who I think is actually, it was Hui. So Hui actually just got in the way of them for the leaders again. That nearly caused a big accident.
Yeah. So this is a really good battle going on between Nakeeb and Chin. They're just moving back and forward, back and forward. But for Nakeeb, you know, he'd be thinking about trying to get to the front. Both of them are trying to get to the front, not showing the pace that they need. There is Hui with a drive-through penalty for speeding the pit lane. I think he had just come out of the pit box to change tires. So just showing a little bit of inexperience there. He'll have to serve that. Ayman Nakeeb is starting to close the gap onto Mikko Nasi.
Yep, and Nasi then will now be looking into his mirrors, and conversely, Akim also has to look behind, because it's actually Aleef now closing up to him. So the top 2 then, the final positions on the rostrum then are going to change here if they're going to engage in battle. All the while, Josh Perwin will be laughing all the way to the bank here. He's got a 2.8 second pocket in front of him. Now he 2.8 second gap behind him. He can actually just about cruise here before the first pit stops.
Look at this, Kalen Chin and Nakeeb fighting hard, and Nakeeb there runs wide. Now Kalen Chin overtakes the Malaysian. Great move by the Australian.
And in fact, actually, oh, look at that, he comes back at him. He actually went wide, and then he dives back onto the inside. Kalen then probably didn't expect that. And who has the DRS for this one? It's Kalen. He actually was ahead. He was behind Nakeeb when they crossed the line. Now he gets the DRS. Is he going to be brave enough to send it one on the inside from the parabolica to the hairpin? Not this time. Nakeeb late on the brakes.
They both had DRS right there. But my favorite driver right now, the guy who I think is doing the best job, has to be Ayman Haziq. In the ERGP leaderboard car, you know, he's got 15 kilo ballast. He just qualified to the ERGP leaderboard, and to be doing this performance with 15 kilos on it is really good job indeed. And he's just running with the top boys at the front. Very, very good job by the Malaysian.
Absolutely, and he, of course, you mentioned earlier, he came back from Japan, and the wheel that he's driving right now, well, that's not actually Ayman Haziq, that's Ibrahim. He actually came back from Japan, directly bought himself a direct drive wheel later that night, the night that he came back from Japan. So lucky son of a gun. He actually has a really good wheel to complement his drive right now. And Ibrahim there in front of him is going to dive to the pits. Yes, there he goes. So the first of the front runners to actually dive in.
Okay, there we go. Like you said, first of the front runners, just under the half-minute away of the race. It's the first pit. We've right on board with Kalen Chin. Oh, look again, he's all over the back of Nakeeb. And look at that, this great battle that these guys are going on. So you can get a good exit out of this turn 2. Good, both of them get good exits. They both got DRS right now. But you know, the Stratos Motorsport car is very light in downforce, so very quick down the straights. Yeah, not getting close. He's just backing off there. Sends it down the inside.
Wow, what a move. What a move from Kalen. They go side by side through the hairpin, and somehow Nakeeb hangs it around the outside. That's very brave from both of them. Good driving, and that's the standard that we would love to see at this pinnacle of e-racing in Southeast Asia.
Whoa.
And in fact, Kalen goes back onto the inside here for the Mercedes-Benz arena, just can't get it through. And all the while, when they're both battling, oh, I think it's a puncture. Nakeeb actually has a puncture.
Wow. All the guys are running out. Let's go back to the front, because Mikko Nasi is right now. He's got a puncture as well. And Mikko Nasi's trying to get to the pit lane. Their cars are going all over the place. Everyone's going all over the place. Josh has got a pit puncher, and Mikko Nasi just about makes it into the pit lane. Oh, as he comes.
That was Aleef. That was Aleef there trying to do a Sebastian Vettel in Shanghai 2016.
Very, very late on the brakes. I hope he wasn't speeding in the pit lane, because that will get him a penalty, as both of them come in there very close indeed. So I think Josh Perwin with a puncher, and there he is trying to get into the pit lane.
No, he spun it. He spun it in the pit lane. And who's that without a nose cone? That's actually one of the Stratos cars. It's actually Nakeem. Nakeem doesn't have a nose cone on his car. It's all kicking off here past the halfway point. They have stayed out one lap too long. And the guy who's looking the smartest out of all of this might be Mohammed Ibrahim, who pitted a lap earlier. There he comes across the line. He takes fifth place away from the rest. In fact, he's up to third now. That would look absolutely brilliant for the Indian driver. He's going to get the lead of the race here.
So Ayman's in the lead now. Great job to stop a bit, one lap early, did the undercut and overtook Nasi for the lead. So he's leading at the moment. Nasi there in P2, and this behind him, Mohammed Ibrahim up to P3. So a great job by the Indian. And of course, in fourth position, right behind Ibrahim, is of course Muhammad Aleef.
Yep. And Kalen Chin has a penalty for him. We saw just now he has a drive-through penalty. So that is, I think that was not only just Josh, but actually also for Kalen. They both actually spun in the pit lane. He tried to speed through and got a drive-through. That's a disaster for both Australians.
Yeah, such a shame there. And Josh there, that's been in the. He should have pitted a lap early. He'll be kicking himself. Anyway, such a tough decision. These are all split decision, last-minute decisions they have to make. Obviously made the wrong decision at that moment. And this guy's looking very pretty. Aleef there, up to P4. His championship rivals all spinning out. And Ayman Hakim has a slow-down penalty, track limits abuse, so he'll have to watch out for that. But Nasi there, he's really, Mikko Nasi's in hunting, he's in fighting distance, isn't he?
Yes, he is. In fact, he has the DRS this time, around 7/10 the gap as they cross the line. Now through the Parabolica. Will he actually deploy? Of course he does. In fact, he's going to get even closer by the time they come to the hairpin. Will it be close enough to actually just give Ayman a sighter here? Not this time. But he knows full well. Ayman would definitely know full well because he has the gap on the top of the screen, of his screen, to see where Nasi is in relation to him. Not this time. In fact, it's actually increased out to second. Aleef actually overtakes Ibrahim for third. So that pit stop where he actually tried to ding on the inside, cut on the way into the pit lane on Nasi, has now worked out. So now he has actually a lot of ground to make up here in the final 12 minutes that remain.
He's really doing it. I mean, he's making all the other drivers are quite ordinary at this stage.
That's Leona Chin going on into the side curve, almost Sebastian Vettel style. So luckily she kept that going, but the tires will not be happy about that.
Anyway, there he is. But let's go to the front there, because Mikko Nasi's right on the back of Ayman Hakim as they come out of turn 6.
And the Vietnam car gets out of the way again. I think that is Hoi again. I don't know how many times they've overtaken him in this race, but Hoi is sensible this time around. Nasi goes onto the inside! Nasi goes onto the inside of the Mercedes-Benz Arena! Does he make the mistake? Yes, he does! And Ayman will probably not be liking that one bit. That was a surprise maneuver. Look at it, look on his face there. He might have not expected that at all. And with that collision, he might actually risk getting a puncture. Now, with that overtaking maneuver done on him, he actually has Aleef and Ibrahim right at his tail end. That was not what he would have wanted, but that would definitely what Mikko Nasi would have wanted. He's pulled a gap away from the rest of the field.
Wow, so he decided to launch that attack. That was ambitious. I thought he was going to wait another lap, use the DRS to try and pull the gap, but he's not pulled that DRS gap. And that little bit of fighting has really allowed played into the hands of Aleef and Ibrahim, who've now closed down that gap. It's going to be a four-way fight for the lead.
Wow, wait, and it might not be a four-way fight after that, because if Nasi manages to pull away from the DRS range, which he does actually do this time, it's just about over a second through the line, across the line, and now we're on board with Ibrahim. He has the DRS. He was under second behind Aleef. Ayman will be nervously looking over his shoulder now, as there's a bit of a dink there from Aleef. He's trying to look at the inside, but it's not close enough. But the top four here, the tail end of the rostrum, are looking very close.
Yeah, so I think Ayman just trying to put a bit of pressure, showing down the inside of... Sorry, Aleef trying to put a bit of pressure on Ayman. But Ayman's not falling for it at the moment, and he's looking very comfortable indeed. Not very comfortable, shall I say. I mean, he had that last lap. But it's all about Mikko Nasi at the moment. If he can just pull a little bit further away through these last few corners, he would break the DRS code.
Yep, and well, look at that, the amount of steering input we are seeing there. That's a very good comparison that we mentioned earlier. Ayman then, with a lot of input, and well, not that time, because through the sector, he really had to be committed through there. He's so smooth at that time, but throughout the way through that last section, Aleef was actually just as smooth, if not even smoother. That's why he could actually maintain the tire life. And he prevented himself from getting punches like what befell to Josh Bowen and the rest of the field at the front at that time.
Yeah, let's go a bit further back. In 5th position, Jason Tays moved up. So wow, Jason Tays did a good job to get up to the top 5. Ayman Haziq's just behind him. Mika Hakimi, they're up to P7. Good job by the RSG driver. Mohammed Nabil, there he is in 8th position, but he's got a big fight with Presley Martono. There's Presley Martono now coming down. Presley will have DRS, and look as he comes out of this corner. He's got the DRS. Is he going to close the gap down to Ayman? Yes, he is. But I think it's a bit far at the moment, isn't it?
Yep, and wait, is that MIC? That's actually Nabil. In fact, Presley Martono tries to go on the inside here. Nabil actually is very kind to actually give the space. But in spite of doing that, they can go side by side coming to the Mercedes arena, and Nabil actually has a better run out of the hairpin and holds on to 8th place, only for at least until Martono tries to go around the outside. There he tries to do vice versa to what Miko Nasi did, and he does get the move done through the Mercedes-Benz arena. So that's 8th place from Presley Martono, recovering after that rather disappointing end to the first race. Will he hang on to it through the Mercedes-Benz arena? Just about. And behind them is the Eurasia car. Oh, is that a back marker? Yeah, it's a back marker. That's not actually a bad position. So I thought that Eurasia car was part of that. But either way, Martono then up to 8th, pulling away from Nabil.
Yeah, so Martono there finally makes that position. So that's a good job. And then further back, that Kalen Chin is trying to recover, and he's got Naki behind him as well. Both drivers obviously in that incident just before the first pit stops. And again, they're just separated by a piece of string. They're just always together at the moment today.
Indeed, nothing to separate them. Oh, something happened to... was that Kalen actually overcommitting himself onto the curb and running onto the inside? Or did he actually try to reduce the time because he had a corner cutting limit somewhere?
I think it might have been a corner cut. Anyway, so Nakib's got the DRS, so he's going to move out. Let's go back to the front though, because Aleef has managed to overtake Ayman Hakim for P2. So there's only one driver to stand in the way for Aleef to keep his 100% record in E1 Championship.
And that will be another tough competitor because they're both really, really good drivers in every single game they drive. And both are Singaporeans at the top of their game. One is in front right now, Miko Nasi, and the other one is Aleef in second. And judging by the gap right now, two seconds flat-ish as it comes across the line. When they cross the line now, yeah, about 2 seconds. So if Aleef has enough life in those tires, he can actually try to challenge Nasi. But conversely, Nasi might have actually kept his tires alive long enough because he had that gap and he could drive a bit more smoothly. So it's going to be an intriguing final 6 minutes to the end of the race here to see whether or not these guys have enough tire life in them to actually engage in battle. All the while then, Ayman Hakim is actually falling back into the clutches of Muhammad Ibrahim.
Yeah, Ibrahim there, he's in the DRS zone. So Ayman just struggling a bit of pace again, not able to make those tires last as long perhaps. And Ibrahim going around the outside. Oh, is he going to cover? Yes, that's really close.
A bit of a touch there.
A bit of a touch, but they just about survive at the moment. And Ayman holds on for now.
But not least, of course, we know that Ibrahim actually has the second bite of the cherry because he still has DRS coming through the end of the lap. He has 3 shots of it. And he goes around the outside there of the Mercedes-Benz arena. Doesn't make the move done just by yet. Ayman then looking a bit squirrely at that point last time out. I thought that he actually ran out of tire. And in fact, what happened to Ibrahim? Ibrahim actually gave up a lot of time there. Probably he cut the corner somewhere, so he needed to slow. As we see on screen as well, Inigo Anton, so he's not part of this fight. He's in 14th, only just 2 points for him. We focus on the battle here for 3rd position. Ayman then holding on for dear life. Tooth and nail here, trying to hold on. Oh, that's not a back marker. Actually, the Vietnam back marker onto the side of Miko Nasi coming in the first corner. That might be Hoi again. Wow. That is quite scary for all the drivers here because that is just a mobile chicane as he goes through the inside of an I1 car. That's probably Lance Lau. And, well, Lance Lau actually probably not giving way easily either. In fact, that actually has held up. Look at that. He's actually holding up Aleef, and that gives an opportunity for Nasi to pull away here in the final 5 minutes that remain.
Yeah, so Aleef, I mean, Nasi got held up the corner before, and then Aleef got held up. But, you know, he's still within range of Nasi. This race 2 battle is not over. It's going to be fascinating to see. Aleef might be able to hold on to his 100% record. And then just behind them, though, wow, look how close. This is going to come right down very close right now because we've got Ibrahim right on the back of Ayman. Oh, back marker's getting in the way.
Oh, that I1 car really... Well, despite the changing color to look a bit like a Petronas car compared to all white, it's still pretty much an outfit. They are learning the ropes here through sim racing. Luckily that time it wasn't too much of a bother, but for Aleef he might have wished that he was out of the way that time so that he could be closer to Nasi. Now then, focusing on the battle between 3rd and 4th, and in fact 5th, because Jason Tay is not that far behind him either. So Jason actually is going to give this final scrap on the final roster on the podium. In a very interesting one in the final 4 minutes that remain.
Wow, so 3.5 minutes remaining, and this got a great battle between the three of them for these three drivers. Jason Tay there in 5th position, but I have to go back to the front because look at that.
Oh, actually,
Nico Nasi is guarding. That gap between Nasi and Aleef is so close right now. Aleef is he's got the DRS and he's going to be challenging for the lead to the next corner.
And hopefully we can watch back to have a 3rd place because here comes Aleef. He goes on the inside. Does he get it? Yes, he does. Just about. Oh, he's going to push Nasi a bit wide. They both touch and Aleef now gets back the room. It's going to be side by side coming through the Mercedes-Benz arena. All the while 3rd and 4th also swap positions. We're going to go back to them after this for sure. But it's Aleef who takes the lead and he's going to try to maintain his 100% record. 4 wins on the trot will be an absolute showcase of masterclass here in the E1 Championship.
Yeah, wow, he's making the drivers look very second rate. 100% record coming up, and I was so surprised Nasi didn't defend it to 6. I would have thought he would have tried to defend. Maybe he's struggling with tyre wear as well, because we know that Aleef is very good with the tyre wear. But can Nasi come back? Can he try and fight? Will he give up, or will he try and fight to the end?
Well, meanwhile, before we can go back to that, Ayman Hakim has a puncture. Ayman actually, I think that battle between him and Ibrahim and Jason Tay has actually caused the puncture. It's a slow puncture. He has to come into the pits now, and he's been overtaken as well by his teammate Mika Hakimi and Ayman Hazik. So a disastrous run for Ayman Hakim. It's just going from bad to worse here for the Malaysian who is looking to challenge for the championship this season.
And look at that, who's up to P3 for Team Flash? Jason Tay. And this is going to be another fantastic round for Team Flash as they run 1 and 3 at the moment.
Well, like a flash of lightning, but it's colored orange. It's absolutely, it's just a demonstration from this team. They only specialize in, up to this point, Dota and FIFA, but now they can put sim racing into the repertoire, and they're actually winning out it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we're riding now on board with Aleef. Not on board actually, we're just watching him drive as he comes to turns 8, 9 and 10. He's got a back marker to come up again. Always a bit worried when you come against the back markers because you never know exactly how they're going to go. Does get in the way of both of them actually as it becomes a Sachs curve now. Oh, actually, you know, it's not over yet. Oh, Nasi there gets a bit sideways on the way out. I was going to say, Nasi hasn't given up on this, you know. Miko Nasi in P2, he's not actually showing Jason Tay right now at the bottom left and Muhammad Aleef on the bottom right. But Miko Nasi is not giving up on this as they come through turn 1. He's so close, 1 minute to go. So basically, this is the last lap.
Oh, and Nasi knows it. Nasi knows it. He needs to make a move done. And that touch might actually give Aleef a puncture because we've seen before, like what happened last time out with Nabil and Kalen, a slight touch between the front end plate and the rear tires can actually cause a puncture. But Nasi knows he's there. Aleef knows that Nasi's there. And look at that! Nasi around the outside. What a brave move. He outbreaks himself. Does he get the move done now? It's side by side coming on the hairpin. Aleef holds on to it. But Nasi has the DRS still. And he might actually get him through the final sector here. The battle's not over yet. They go side by side coming from the Mercedes-Benz arena. Nasi goes onto the inside. He pushes Aleef off. Aleef's off the circuit. And Nasi takes the lead. What an absolutely brilliant battle here for the lead in race 2. And it is gonna be Nasi who breaks the Aleef stronghold here in season 1. What an absolutely brilliant end to the race.
Wow, it's not over yet. Do one of them have a punches? Aleef is running a bit wide there, but I can't believe it. Miko Nasi through in the last lap.
Wow, and Nasi then showing why he's a gritty driver. He comes around the final corner. Unfortunately, we can't see the top half of his face because his camera is there. But Nasi takes the win in race 2 at Hockenheim in dramatic circumstances. Aleef comes in second. He looks a bit disconsolate, but he'll be happy to know the fact that he can extend his championship lead. Third is Muhammad Ibrahim.
Last week at the Hockenheim Ring in Germany.
Nakib and Aleef having a great battle. Ooh, contact between the two of them.
Absolutely a belter of a race.
We saw Aleef Hamilton with an absolute masterclass once again.
Amazing behind the wheel in anything he drives.
He is the benchmark.
Race 2 was roller coaster, starting from P12 and moving up the order. The other driver I thought was very impressive, Miko Nasi.
I think it was great to get a win in the second race.
Shouldn't have left the door open for Miko.
But Miko Nasi has shown to everybody else that Aleef can be beaten.
Nasi takes the win in race 2 at Hockenheim.
Kalen Chin
He's one of the fastest young guns in the series.
Overall, Hockenheim was a pretty good meet for me.
and Josh Perwin.
Excellent opening part.
I think as a team, we did everything right. We knew the strategy, we knew the fuel. It's just unfortunately that we had some punctures.
It was a tire puncture that led to his demise. Tonight's race at Watkins Glen, I think, is going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works.
Sweeping corners, very high-speed chicane.
Bumpier, it's a bit more raw.
This fixed setup tonight, and that's going to make it super exciting.
I think this is a good circuit for the likes of Josh Perwin.
I mean, Watkins Glen is a great track to race at, so I'm really excited for this.
I'm expecting Team Safehouse to be a little bit creative.
It's all down to the driver, really.
Less time on fixing the car and more time fixing our driving.
Go head on, go very aggressive.
I hope I can fight within the top 10.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I foresee a lot of accidents happening.
It's going to be very tricky.
Whoever can prepare the most, who does the most practice. If they put in the miles, we know they'll be up there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 1 of the E1 Championship. Now, you may notice that things look a little different tonight, and no, we don't have a new studio. I'm actually quarantining at home, but don't worry, I'm feeling fine. In our actual studio, as usual, we have Alex Young, our race director, and Des Corkill, who will be commentating with him tonight. We have some awesome action tonight for Round 3 in Watkins Glen. Don't forget that you can catch all of our races live on the EGG network every Wednesday at 9 p.m. in 18 different countries across the Asia Pacific. You can also catch us online on the E1 Championship and EGG Network's Facebook pages. Good evening, gents. I hope you both don't miss me too much. I'm going to start with you, Alex. The last round in Hockenheim, round 2, that was hectic to say the least. Are we going to see the same close racing tonight at Watkins Glen?
The question was, what's the racing going to be like at Watkins Glen tonight,
Well,
Alex?
okay, that was a question, and it was a good question, Daniel. It's going to be great. We saw at Hockenheim how exciting it was right to the end. I think it's going to be the same again because it's going to be a slipstream fest. Everyone's on fixed setup, so everyone's on the same car, so everyone have very similar performances. But most importantly, there's a long back straight where the DRS is going to have a big effect. So I think we're going to have a train of cars, peloton racing like we've seen sometimes in E1. It's going to be really difficult to call.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the racing tonight. And before we head into that action, let's take a little bit of a throwback and look at the highlights from round 2.
It's a good start there from Josh Perwin, but it's Kalen Chin to take the lead. Aleef goes onto the inside, Kalen on the outside. Does Aleef have the line? Yes, he does, but Kalen on the switchback. No, he's actually slipped it. Aleef takes the lead.
Contact between the two of them.
It's Aleef who takes victory here at Hockenheim. Race 2 is underway at Hockenheim. Aleef is right behind Prezi Matono.
He went right behind him. So, dives down the inside of Hazik. Great move by the Indian. Miko Nasi, he's got a puncher as well. And Miko Nasi's trying to get it to the pit lane. Their cars are going all over the place. And Ibrahim going around the outside. Is he going to cover? Yes.
Nasi goes onto the inside. He punches Aleef off. Aleef's off the circuit. And Nasi takes the lead. Nasi takes the win in race 2 at Hockenheim.
A phenomenal way to end race. Overall final results, so Presley Martono fastest, race number 1 Aleef for Hamilton picking up his 3rd win in succession, getting ahead of Naki Baslan. Kalen Chin a very good P3, but race 2 was just sensational. Miko Nasi picking up 25 points, edging out Aleef on the last lap of a phenomenal 30-minute reverse grid race. In the point standings for that week, Aleef still picked up 46 to increase his lead at the top, but Miko is back in business and we have got a championship.
Hockenheim was great. We had such great racing. But Des, this question's for you. We've had quite a few upsets in round 2. We had Aleef's winning streak cut short by Miko Nasi in race 2. couldn't make it 4 for 4. Our reigning champion Nakib Aslan has yet to win a race, and our previously consistent team RSG have yet to get any podiums. Is Season 1 going to continue being a season of surprises?
Early days in the season, but I tell you what, if somebody like Aleef Hamilton makes the kind of start that he has, it can be a little bit intimidating for everybody else. That's why I thought that last week's last lap bang from Miko Nasi, where he edged Aleef out off the track, that will have encouraged absolutely everybody. And I think this Watkins Glen circuit is going to be good for the likes of Josh Berwin, who's very quick, Tadashi if he can get his confidence up, but also look out for Mika Hakimi. He's a wild card who could come good.
Well, we have to look out for how our drivers will perform in qualifying. And looking at round 2, there were quite a number of drivers that had a good qualifying but weren't able to put it together in the race, namely Presley Martono, Josh Perwin, and Inigo Anton. Now, qualifying is a big part of any race, so let's take a look at our fast qualifiers from round 2.
He's gone fastest in Sector 1. He's purple through Sector 2 again. And that's a good last corner. Josh Perwin, he's on another lap as well. Kalen Chin, he's just gone second quickest as well. Aleef is now coming through. Will this be good enough to snatch pole? No, not able to do it.
He definitely had the DRS trying to overtake Aleef, but Aleef was very aware of it to prevent Martono. Presley Martono tries to go on the inside, but Nabil actually has a better run.
Josh Perwin just struggling there.
Unfortunately for him, he actually got nicked completely by the two of them. I think it's a puncture!
Josh has got a pit puncher. Cars are going all over the place.
So Kalen Chin taking the whole shot into the lead. Kalen's now coming back at Nakib Aslan.
Kalen Chin down the inside of Nakib. Good move.
Aleef will now go for it. He takes the lead. Aleef who takes victory. Aleef who takes the lead. Aleef comes in second. He looks a bit disconsolate.
So, Alex, let's put a bit of a spotlight on some of those drivers that did well in qualifying. Why weren't they able to put it together in the race? Because 2 of those drivers that did very well are actually very experienced real-life motorsport drivers.
Well, I think slightly different reasons. We saw Presley with pole position. I think he's still a bit inexperienced in RaceRoom and trying to understand how to manage the tires and the fuel as it comes off. So he wasn't getting the most of the car in the race. You can see the tire wear went off and then he was nowhere towards the end of the race. So he'll get better with that, you know, because he's a real-life driver. He's got a lot of racecraft and he'll get better with that for sure. Inigo, on the other hand, even though he's a real-life race driver, you feel his racecraft needs to improve a little bit more. Sometimes he makes the wrong decisions at key moments. But all these drivers, you know, Kalen Chin's another one, have all got great speed and are capable of winning. They just need to try and curate the whole weekend where it builds up from practice to qualifying into the race so that they are just at the right place, at the right tire wear, the right fuel, and doing the lap times when it's needed to win.
Well, I completely agree. In racing, you can't just be fast, you have to have good racecraft too. So let's take a look at some of the best overtakes from round 2.
Kalen on the outside. Does Ali have the line? Yes, he does. But Kalen on the switchback gets back at him and he retakes the lead. Great driving from both of them. Kalen then holding on for dear life here. His tires. No, he's actually slipped it. Aleef will now go for it. He takes the lead.
Kalen Chin down the inside of Nakib. Good move. It's Kalen Chin and Nakib fighting hard. And Nakib there runs wide. Now Kalen Chin overtakes.
What a move. What a move from Kalen. They go side by side through the hairpin. Somehow Nakib hangs it around the outside. Nasi goes onto the inside. Nasi goes onto the inside of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Does he make the mistake? Yes, he does. Nasi goes onto the inside. He pushes Aleef off. Aleef's off the circuit. And Nasi takes the lead. Nasi takes the win in race 2 at Hockenheim in dramatic circumstances.
As we can tell from Amir's commentary, we had some mega overtakes in round 2. But Alex, I noticed that some of our drivers that come from real motorsport backgrounds seem to be a little bit more aggressive with their overtaking style and a bit more argy-bargy with their moves. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I first got into sim racing, I was knocking people all over the place, left, right, and center. I mean, real life drivers, they drive to the risk level, you know, and if you're not going to get hurt, you go right to the limit. But real life drivers, they need to calm down because obviously if it becomes a free-for-all, then it becomes all about luck and not really, it stops being a sport. So eventually they calm down. That's why it's very important to have the stewarding very hot. We need to be on top of things, you know, Razamin, who are our chief steward, to really make sure that they penalize anyone who's naughty. Otherwise, you know, it stops being a sport.
And aggressiveness aside, what about you, Des? Any standout moves for you from round 2?
I just want to disagree utterly with that fella over there. Alex Young, what's the word I'm after? Conservative. Let's get the fighting going. Let's get the knocks. Let's use the fact that it's e-racing. Let's really go for it. Ammo, brilliant in commentary. We want to get excited. We want to get energized. We want to see crashes because you can't do it in real racing. So let's make the most of the advantage that we've got. Boo, boo, boo.
He's not the one they complain to. They complain to us.
You make a very good point, Des. Now, round 2 wasn't just about aggressive overtakes. It had plenty of other spanners in the works as well. Let's go and take a look and see why we call round 2 a Royal Rumble.
Oh! And Jason Tay! Oh! Almost survived somehow. Look, Aleef covers the inside. Ooh! Contact between the two of them.
Ooh! When they're both battling. Oh! I think it's a puncture! Nakeem actually has a puncture!
It's Miko Nasi. He's got a puncture as well. And Miko Nasi's trying to get to the pit lane. Their cars are going all over the place. Oh! As they come very, very late on the break.
Oh no! He spun it! He spun it in the pit lane! And who's that with our nose cone? It's actually Nakeem!
How exciting was that? I loved round 2. Des, reckon we're going to get that same argy-bargy tonight? Are your wishes going to come true?
I certainly hope so. Let's get ready to rumble. I like a little bit of aggression. Obviously, I'm going over the top at the moment. I do like the aggression, though. I like people taking chances. Watkins Glen, I think the guys are going to have to take chances because the rules, as Alex will explain later, slightly different this week. Everyone's in the same vehicle, so you're just going to have to make that gamble, and so we might have another Royal Rumble, this time in the United States.
Well, that wraps up the key highlights from last week. Let's take a look at the top 5 in the championship standings at the moment. Over to you, Des and Alex.
Yeah, in the top 5, well, Aleef is leading the way, 101 points, but remember, you do drop around. Mohamed Ibrahim has quietly come through into P2. Naki Baslan is looking for a championship. He's in P3 on 55. But Miko Nasi and Nabil, the brother of Nakib, they make the top 5. All very, very competent racers. And if you move into the overall team standings, well, Team Flash leading the way, 155 points. Jason Tay is a very good ally or foil to Aleef. Nakib and Ibrahim, as you saw, they're both in the top 3. Now it's a big weekend for Mika and Amin Hakim. They can't look to get too far behind. To see the ERacing GP team in the top 4 is phenomenal. And Owen Tarunya, he's been quick in practice. Let's look out for him and Miko Nasi to improve their position from P5.
Now, the driver standings are really interesting. We've seen some of our consistent kings from Season 0, like Ayman Hakim, falling out of our top 5, and Nabil Aslan taking his spot. Des, what do you make of this? What's going on this season?
So I think it's fabulous for Nabil because he has to qualify every week for the ERacing GP team. Alex has put a qualification that they've got to get in to earn that drive. And not only does he qualify, he's come in and he's scored points in all 4 of his races so far. 8th is his worst position. I'm delighted to see new names coming into the reckoning. Aleef, of course, is new to us here. So it means that the other guys, the regular guys, the likes of Ayman Hakim, they've got to work that little bit harder. It's great.
Now, Alex, at the front of the field, looking at the teams, Team Flash themselves, the orange cars, are pulling a bit of a gap. Is it going to be too late for the other teams to catch up in the championship standings?
Oh, it's never too late, especially because we're only round 2. We've only done 2 rounds of 8, so there's still plenty of time to catch up. And like Des mentioned, there is a drop round. People have to drop between rounds 1 and 7, which will close things up. And of course, 8th round is double points, so it's not over till it's over.
That's right, Alex. It's not over till it's over. Are we still going to get the same top 5 coming out of round 3? Well, we shall find out very soon tonight at Watkins Glen, where we're also going to be introducing a Joker format. Alex and Des, I should say, walk us through tonight's track and format, please.
Yeah, Den at Watkins Glen. Let's have a look. There's 8 rounds that we have in this championship. We've been to the Red Bull Ring in Hockenheim. Today we're at Watkins Glen, Suzuka next week. Then we go back over to Europe, and Alex will talk us through Watkins Glen. Great. Well,
Watkins Glen is a really fast track. You only brake, I think, like 2 or 3 times a lap in a FX17 car. So it's very, very fast, sweeping corners, really exciting to drive. Fairly difficult track to learn. And get right. You're going through these corners so quickly. And of course, I'm going to go onto it a bit, but we have fixed setup this weekend. but you are allowed to choose your tire compound. So there's a soft and the medium tire, hard tire to choose from. So teams will be trying to get that right to try and maximize the strategy. And here it is, the Joker format. Normally, setups are open. So aero, springs, dampers, ride heights, camber, toe gears, you can always adjust that to optimize the car for the track and for the driver. This weekend, the Joker format, it's fixed, so you can't change anything.
It's a 5-minute qualification period that determines the starting position. You do pick up points. Then we've got a 15-minute race one, followed by a reverse grid race where we roll the dice to find out how many places you are have to go in reverse. 25, 20, 16 points for each of the races. That's 1, 2, 3. The top 15 all qualify. You pick up bonus points as well for the qualification periods as well. And then the man at the end of the day, or it could be the woman because Leona is in there, at the end of the season will pick up a grand old $5,000 US. That is worth having. Runners up second, third and fourth, 4, 3, 2 and $1,000. I'll have that, please.
And that's it for our pre-race show. I'm personally very excited to see what's going to happen in qualifying and the races with the Joker format. We always talk about how important the teams are in setting up the cars to go faster. With a bit more of an even playing field tonight, so we're really going to see which drivers have a bit more talent than the others. We have qualifying coming up right after this break, so don't go anywhere.
So a lot of you guys have asked, how do you get into sim racing? Well, first of all, you need to buy the game. And we have here on screen right now, this is the RaceRoom game. But you don't have to get this lovely, beautiful rig that we have here. You can actually start with just a keyboard and mouse. And we have a lot of drivers actually win in ERacing GP with just a keyboard and mouse. However, as you get better, you're going to drive against a higher quality level of driver. And then you need to start thinking about getting a seat, getting a steering wheels and pedals, because these are what the pros use, and it's really like the real thing. So here we are driving on the track, and you see this is a really good steering wheel. It's a RaceRoom simulator, in fact. There's a lot of vibration through the wheels. You can't maybe see it, but trust me, I can feel it through the wheel. And then breaking along straights. Now these sort of cars in real life are very hard to overtake it because the dirty air of the car in front really messes with your grip. But in this game, we can take out the dirty air, so it's like the old school Formula 1 cars where you can follow people closely. There is still a little bit of dirty air. I've talked to some of the drivers and they say they get too close. It actually affects the rear wing, so it can make it really, really oversteering. There is a little bit of that, but it's very much minimalized, so you can actually overtake, and it's a lot of fun to drive. So in Season 0, we went for tracks that promoted overtaking. So more like typical Formula 1 tracks with long straight. However, for Season 1, we're going to mix things up a bit. We start in Europe and we finish in Europe. And the first 2 races are Formula 1 tracks. But then we go to tracks that are off the beaten path. We go to Watkins Glen, we go to Zandvoort, we do Suzuka as well. And these are tracks that are harder to overtake, but a lot more challenging for the drivers. And then we go back to Europe and we finish with 2 Formula 1 tracks at Hockenheim at Nürburgring.
I really like the first track coming up, Red Bull Ring actually. It's a bit of a simple track. You have to get everything right because it's so simple. Everyone is fast over there, so it's all about the detail.
Season 1 has some really cool tracks that I'm looking forward to racing in. I really enjoy the Red Bull Ring, so I've been practicing on there quite a bit, so I really enjoy that track.
Suzuka is a track that I have ridden around, beautiful flowing, and I've driven around. I'm fascinated to see how the sim racers are able to cope with the many varied obstacles that Suzuka offers.
Each track will have very different things, like you go to Formula 1 tracks like Nürburgring, Hockenheim or Red Bull Ring, those are all about top speed and short corners. That requires a specific setup. Then you go to the other tracks like Suzuka or Watkins Glen, which doesn't have very long straights but are very long corners, and you need a very good balance on the car. So if you don't have that, you're going to be nowhere. I'm quite fortunate because I've been to most of these tracks. I'm a real life driver, I'm not a sim driver, but I've watched a lot of sim drivers drive on these tracks over the last couple of years. I think we've got the right tracks.
Welcome back to the E1 Championship. We're here at Watkins Glen for round 3 of season 1. Now, for all of our viewers who didn't hear it earlier on in our pre-race show, we do have a little bit of a fixture change tonight. We have a Joker format, and that means that all the drivers have the same car setup. It means it puts more emphasis on the driver's talent to come out in front. So this is my question to you, both you, Alex and Des. Who do you think is going to extract the most out of this opportunity, or are all the drivers going to be penalized equally?
I think the teams whose drivers we know are very quick, but maybe not so experienced in RaceRoom, teams like Z Challenger perhaps, Black Wolf might help them as well, the Vietnamese team, because those are teams that are not very experienced with the FX17 car doing the setup. So maybe they're not at the maximum, at the best of maximizing the setup. So I think those teams, the drivers are going to be a lot closer. Other than that, I don't know what's going to happen in the front. I still think we won't see that much of a change. I still think Aleef will be up there, Nakib, Miko, all those drivers will be at the front.
But the circuit itself also helps a little bit because it's a very flowy circuit. And as Alex was explaining before, you don't brake too often. So if you're not braking too often, you're not worrying too much, and you can look for top speed, pick up the slipstream, and try and use the DRS as much as possible. So I'm expecting a Josh or an Akeem to come into the reckoning this week.
Yeah.
Well, I love that little bit of uncertainty. Hopefully it promotes a little bit more of that RG-bargy, Des, and make your wishes come true. Now, qualifying is going to come underway very, very soon, but first I'll hand it over to you, Alex and Des, to talk us through our driver lineup and then take us into the practice session.
Okay, so here we are, our reigning champion, Stratos Motorsports from Malaysia, and of course Nakib Aslan carrying the number 1, and his new teammate for this year, Muhammad Ibrahim from India, who's proven to be extremely quick.
Pretty quick team, our team Safehouse, Arwin Tarunya, who's been very quick in practice for today. Miko Nasi won race 2 last week, so he's in form. Expect Team Safehouse to offer a real threat.
And then RSG, they were the runner-up team last year. Of course, Ayman Hakim finished second in the championship. An all-Malaysian team, Mika Hakimi, who's only 18 years old, is a second driver there who's finished on the podium many, many times.
Scuderia Stratos need to get their act together because neither Troy or Arif Azmi have really got to grips with this season. P6 is the best result so far for Troy. We're expecting better from the teenagers.
Okay, and now the Philippines team, GT Radio Eurasia, led by Inigo Anton, age 17, in car number 9. He's had pole 3 times already, very, very quick. And then his teammate, Joaquin Garrido, who's only 15 years old.
I always mention Daniel because he's the old man of the team, makes me feel at home. 46 years of age, but no points this season. Kalen Chin, the number 11 from Australia, just 14. Second in qualifying last week, P3 in race 1.
And they've got I1 Racing, the Brunei-based team. Benjamin Seek in car number 17 and Lance Lau, also from Brunei, in car number 18. I love the turquoise colour of this car.
Presley Martono can be very quick in the JMX Phantom. He was fastest in qualifying last week and picked up a P8. Fadli Rakhmat just 10 points, needs to get into gear, does fast Fadli.
And then behind them, of course, the Black Arts Racing, probably the most successful single-seater real-life race team in Asia. And they're led by Josh Perwin from Australia, age 19. And of course, Alistair Young in the second car, age 18.
Z Challenger coming from Hong Kong, Jack Din Chung, the 23-year-old, and 70-year-old Jay Yang from Taiwan. And only 4 points for Jay so far. Come on, boys, we need your points.
And then championship leaders right now, Team Flash. Leading the Drivers' Championship with Muhammad Aleef, and of course the Team Championship, Jason Tay, who just joined us in round 2, proving to be very quick, and he's 25 years old.
Good evening, Vietnam! Wake up, Long and Dang. You need to get some points, only 2 points so far this season. There is your wake-up call.
And then after that, we have the celebrity couple, Funny Man, Whelan Choi in car number 23, and of course the Drift Queen, Leona Chin in car 24. They're always going well and highly entertaining.
Completing our 28-person grid. Look out for Nabil Aslan. He qualifies every week and is in the points every week. Top 8 in all 4 races this season. A debut for the season for Jin Masvilton from Singapore.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. The E1 Championship in Season 1 has such a strong driver lineup. I'm going to hand it over to Alex and Des to walk us through what these drivers are up to in practice right before qualifying.
Well, Des.
Thanks very much, Dan. Yes, so practice is just about finished, literally as we go. Let's get on board because they've got 5 minutes to put in a fast lap. Presley Martono last week, Alex, was very, very quick. We're just waiting for qualification to begin. There's about a 30-second gap between practice and qualification. 28 racers on the start grid, though. It's not really caused us a problem yet, has it?
And he just did a 14.9 in practice. That's phenomenally quick. Just talking to some of the drivers already, they thought low 15s possible, maybe 14s. So to be 14s right now is incredible because the worldwide leaderboard for RaceRoom, the fastest lap there is a 15. So these guys are going quicker than anyone has ever gone in these cars.
Presley Martono, as we said, fastest last week. Do you want to stick with him for a full lap, Alex? We've got him on the inset just to prove this is the fast sweeping corner 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah, here we go through the S's right now. Easily flatten these cars, even the DRS Open, all the way up this long straight. And then you head for the inner loop. It doesn't have... He had the most points in round 2. He is carrying a little bit more ballast, but so is Nakib, so is Miko. Josh, though, Josh is not carrying any, he's carrying a very tiny amount of ballast. I think he's got like 2 kilograms of ballast, not much at all. So great job by Josh and Inigo Anton. They're going to be challenging Nakib very hard over that first lap.
You mentioned Miko Nasi, P13 only for Miko. Won race 2 last week. He's not inconsistent, but
yeah,
he's good enough to come from P13.
Yeah, he is. I think it's very close right now. Everyone is getting closer and closer and closer. So if you are carrying that bit of ballast, you don't quite get the perfect lap, you're going to be outside the top 10.
Looking forward to this. Nakib Aslan on pole. Hasn't had a victory so far this season. Josh Perwin also very, very quick around Watkins Glen.
Let's try and talk to Nakib, shall we? Just see how we are doing right now. We'll just go on board with Nakib, see if we can talk to Nakib. Nakib, wow, that was a good lap. I know you were very disappointed with round 2, where you didn't ace your qualifying, but how was that lap? Looks like you aced it this time.
Yeah, it was. Finally, I think I hooked it up really nicely. Still not a perfect one. I think there's still a tenth or 2 there, but happy that it was enough for pole, and now looking forward to race 1.
Okay, I have to ask, fixed setup. How tough is it driving the cars with fixed setup? And it's made the field super close though.
Yeah, so fixed setup, it's really difficult. I think it's a lot more understeer than what we normally would like. Normally we'd set up for a better front end, but the beauty of fixed setup is that the best driver comes on top, so whoever can master it will be fastest.
Oh, that must mean you're talking about yourself. Congratulations on the pole position.
Thank you.
What's going to happen in the race? Is the DRS going to be a big factor? Is it going to be a slipstream fest?
For sure. I think the DR is going to be so strong, especially with the long straights. So it's going to be a 200 mile an hour chess game, so it's going to be fun.
Okay. Well, I know you got to get ready for race 1, so we'll leave you there. Good luck.
Thank you.
He's a very cool customer, Nakib, isn't he? This is just a few seconds before the race, and he's calm as you like.
But you know what? It's not really a chess game. I was just thinking about it the other day. It's a high-speed poker game because you are bluffing and you're hiding your cards and you're bluffing. It's not really chess. You have to think about it like a chess game, but the way you have to bluff people and take risks and take calculated risks, it's a poker game. And that's what I love about it. It's going to be a good race, I feel.
A reminder that we've got 2 races coming your way. You've got this 15-minute sprint, and then we've got a 30-minute reverse grid race where very often pit stops come into the reckoning. That depends on the tyre wear that you put on the races. They're all your best mates this week, are they?
I mean, we completely, it's a lottery. We draw cards, so to speak, and that's how we decide what sort of fuel wear, tyre wear it's going to be. Fuel to this week for tonight was going to be ×1, so that's normal. But tyre wear's ×3. ×3 is a lot, and it makes it really tough for the drivers to look after the tyre wear. But having said that, in the first 2 rounds we had ×4, so they are given a little bit of break. It's not as bad as it was the previous round. However, this track is really tough with tyre wear. So while they won't pit in race 1, in race 2 you should see them pitting, but the front tyres really get stuffed with this setup, with this fixed setup. So they're really going to be struggling to look after those front tyres with ×3 tyre wear.
Josh Perwin we didn't mention. He P2 once again. He's suddenly coming into form, this young Aussie.
Yes, he is. You know, he's a mega sim driver. You know, he's quick across many platforms, especially iRacing and R Factor. You know, he's one of the best sim racers in the world. And we've seen him winning in RaceRoom now, and that's really good to see. Let's see if he can win today, and if that might inspire him or bring his confidence up to another level where he can maybe fight for the championship too.
Inigo Anton also coming in 3P. The drivers are just going through a bit of a warm-up session at the moment, so they've done qualification, they've had that adrenaline. We give them a bit of time so we can get an interview just to give you a little bit of a flavour on what's going on. Now they're through to a warm-up session. But Inigo, we were on board with Inigo Anton, and he is consistently quick.
Yeah, I mean, Inigo Anton. Okay, so actually we saw him in so Inigo, we have no doubts about his speed. You know, a lot of times at pole positions. He's still a young driver though, real life driver as well. But we've seen with a lot of sim races, especially here on the RaceRoom game, sometimes he can be a bit naive in some of the decisions he makes. So that's why you've seen him always be at the front, but not quite lose out on those battles and not actually win the race. So He's not my favorite to win today because his racecraft still needs to improve a bit, but it would be good to see him see if he can try and finish on the podium today. I mean, he's going to have a lot of close competition. There's not only has he got Josh Perwin and Nakib around him, some of the other drivers. Aleef is just there, Alistair is there, and of course Presley Martono. We know how quick he is. He did not put together his qualifying time. He'll be a lot quicker in the race.
Okay. Well, we're just waiting for the game to get underway. First 15 minutes worth. Are we on Discord with anyone? Is anyone available to talk?
We can talk to Daniel. Anyway, we are in the garage now. We are coming down to race 1. Race 1 is about to start, so only 50 seconds to go. So this is where the guys will be setting the fuel and the tire. They're selecting the tire. I think everyone's going to choose a hard tire because we are at ×3 tire wear, so that will be an issue. But they need to select how much fuel so that they don't carry any more fuel than they need. And by doing that, once those settings are set, and then you see the cars get teleported from the pit lane into the grid.
Watkins Glen
Alex,
is the venue. Sorry, Dan, after you.
Well, we have a little bit of time. We've got 20 seconds. Alex, give us a quick summary of how a driver can change their driving style if the setup doesn't really quite agree with them.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll soon see anyway. About to go. Red light's about to come out. Only 10 more seconds before the red lights come out.
Nakib Aslan is the man who is on pole position. The Malaysian is looking to sort out a first victory of this season. See.
Talk us through your race.
It was, like I said in the beginning, it was a 200-mile-an-hour chess game. We had a decent start. Josh came up to us, and we were clear of 1 second to P3. So the smart thing to do was work together, and we did that. So props to Josh for that. He drove really well. But yeah, I think I timed my perfect time. I moved to good timing and got away with the win.
You really tried to mid-break, halfway through the race, you tried to have a break and try and break that 1 second. Weren't quite able to do it, but was that what you were trying to do?
Yeah, so I saw that I opened up a gap and I was like, okay, let's try and break it. But he just got in the 1 second each time, so I was like, okay, you know what, okay, let's back it down and play smart again. So thankfully it went well for us today.
All right. Well, great job, Nakib. What's the strategy for race 2? I know we always ask this and you never tell us, but is it possible that there might be a two-stop strategy for race 2? I know tire wear's ×3 only, but the tire wear's pretty bad here, isn't it?
It is really bad, especially with the understeer we're having. We'll see. I think whatever the fast strategy is, will win the race. So stay tuned.
Okay. Thanks very much.
So confirmation, Nakib Aslan not only picks up the 25 points for the win, fastest lap as well. Josh Berwin, a very brave P2 for the Australian Black Odds Racing. Akeem back in form, P3. Inigo Anton 4. Aleef, good result for Team Flash from P5. Kalen Chin 6. Martono and Rakhmat making an all-Indonesian 7-8. Jason Tay is very decent. Hakimi, pretty quick in the top 10. Okay, so we've got race 1 out of the way. Let's head back to our main host in his home, Dan Woodruff.
Well, it's the first time the commentator's curse has actually done some good. I said earlier on in the show that Nakib Aslan hadn't won yet, and here he is, race 1 in round 3, back on the top step of the podium. Looking forward to seeing what we're going to have for race 2. But first, a very short commercial break, and then we'll be back with some highlights and more analysis.
And Harry goes on the inside.
Kevin David made it through.
Troy Hyman's got the better of Nakib. Season 0 champion!
Hi, my name's Nakib Aslan and I'm E1 Season 0's champion.
My name's Yavan David from Sri Lanka.
My name is Troy Hyman.
I'm Arif Azmi. My name's James Russell and I'm the team manager for both Stratos Motorsports as well as Scuderia Stratos.
Well, I think Stratos Motorsports had an advantage because there were kind of 2 teams. They had Stratos Motorsports and Scuderia Stratos. So they had 4 drivers always testing together and working together.
For our first season, there were some ups and downs. Thankfully for us, there were a lot more ups than downs. And we ended up taking both the drivers and the team's championships.
Nakib is very much a sim driver. He's only done sim, he's never raced in real life.
I actually came completely from a sim racing background. I've never done real life racing before this. I actually only started competitive sim racing last year.
I've got to say the performance of Nakib Aslan did impress me.
He drove superbly throughout the whole championship.
He's just on another level, he's really, really good. Nakib Aslan was a deserving champion for consistency and keeping his heart going on the last round.
With Yevan last season, everything was really, really good. He actually got the opportunity to go to Europe this year to race full-time in the World Championship in karts. So we did end up with an empty seat. So recently I've started watching more racing, and Ibrahim has been a front runner, if not the champion, in everything that I've seen. He was almost a natural choice for us to replace Yevan.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I'm from India and I'm 18 years old. I did my first Rotex race with Stratos, so I knew James Russell from before.
I knew Ibrahim only like last year. We did sim racing together. And he is one really fast driver.
It's a great thing to have a champion beside you because you know you have the best benchmark and you can learn everything from him. So it's no pressure, it's just better for me.
Hopefully we can work together well and bring back another championship this season.
For sure, there will definitely be a learning curve. They are not too familiar with each other at the moment. However, that will change very, very quickly. So eventually, yes, the dynamic will be just as good as it was with Yevan. So I'm not too worried about that.
Scuderia Stratos, they're all real-life drivers, karters, and they're also young, so they don't really have much experience either. But they were able to get them up, and I think that's pretty much James Russell, and he knew how to extract the most out of the driver.
For Scuderia, for both of them, they were quite new to sim racing. They both only started last year.
I think in Arif in the race he can He's got the potential to be quick, setting fast lap times, especially in qualifying.
Troy is really good at, once he's up there in the race, he's good at maintaining position. So we're just going to focus on ourselves and trying to improve ourselves and just perform at our own best.
Yeah, I don't think we really need to worry about any of the other drivers.
I look forward to learning as fast as possible, just getting up to speed as quick as possible.
To all the drivers, don't expect me to slow down.
For Stratos Motorsports, the goal has to be the championship.
Real-life motorsport is a team sport in the sense that in order to win, it isn't just down to the driver, it's also down to the team around that driver and how they set up the car. Those variables are also brought to the E1 Championship with the FRX 17.
Okay, so we chose the FX 17 because it's the fastest car in the RaceRoom game. It looks like a modern day Formula 1 car. It's bigger, it's got big downforce, it's got the floor and the large front wing. So it sucks a lot of downforce. Very cool car, and more importantly, you can overtake in this car and you have excellent racing.
This car allows for a lot of setup changes as well. Loads of different things in the setup, the amount of fuel in it, the tires, so there's the strategy that comes into play as well.
Teams really need to get on top of that. They spend hours doing it. Like I was talking to one of the teams the other day, in preparation for the race event, they'll spend the first 3 hours just sorting out the driving, and then maybe another 6-7 hours after that just working on the setup.
You have shocks, you've got dampers, you've got springs, right? So how do they work around the corner? And all of these things are adjustable, and these are all very closely guarded secrets between all the different teams.
And it's all about maximizing the compromise of the car on the track and also the driving style.
It's a very, very tricky car to drive. Before E1 Championship, I actually never drove the car before.
FRX 17 on RaceRoom, it's a handful. It's a fast F1 style car, and there's always some challenges to try to get the setup right and driving it right. So plenty for the drivers and teams to figure out and get used to for season 1.
These cars are a lot of fun, and I think mixing around with the DRS is also going to be interesting.
They're very tricky and they're very hard to get, all of it out.
Good for battling and overtaking.
Each car has its different way of driving, and the FRX 17 requires a special style of driving it, but I don't think I want to share that.
It has so much power and so much grip. It's really hard to find the limit with these cars.
Welcome back to round 3 of the E1 Championship at Watkins Glen. Looking back at race 1, it looks like we had less argy-bargy and a bit more ping-pong between the top two, constantly changing the lead. Did your dreams come true, Des, in race 1?
It was very tactical. It was very good racing. You've got to say that. You've got to admire it. I would like a little bit more smash bang wallop in the middle, but very, very good racecraft, which will please that fella just over there.
Well, you might get some more argy-bargy. We do have a reverse grid race coming up now, don't we?
And fun. It was 13. You've spun the magic wheel, and it's the reverse grid will be the top 13 are reversed, which means that Jin Masvilton will be on pole. He's a good racer, is Jin.
Yeah, he is. Okay, you have the 15 kilos ballast, but we know he's capable of doing it well, staying at the front.
With race 2 coming up, we're going to have more argy-bargy, a bit more ping-pong, I am sure, but just putting a spotlight on the FRX 17 quickly, the car that the drivers are using, as you mentioned in that video just now, Alex. It looks like a Formula 1 car. It's powerful, has a lot of aero, which means it has a lot of big wings on it that sticks it to the ground. With this fixed setup in the Joker format, which driver came out on top, managing that the best?
Well, it seemed to help Nakib a lot, didn't it? Nakib was very strong. Obviously, he won the race, fastest lap, pole position. But we saw Juktin do very well. He's running high in the top 10 as well from Hong Kong. So you saw some of the other teams maybe not so experienced with the car, about maximizing the setup. With this fixed setup, they were able to run a lot closer to the front.
And did we see some drivers actually struggle? That was a little bit surprising. Some drivers that we didn't expect to do as badly as they did today.
Yeah, I think Aleef struggled a bit more than I thought. So did Kalen Chin, really. So maybe Kalen Chin's setup is actually really, really good as well. Who else struggled a bit there? I think the second Stratos car, Scuderia Stratos, were also struggling a bit. They were outside the top 10 quite a bit as well. But it could still does prove, mostly, we still got the guys at the front even with fixed setup or open setup. So we still see the best drivers at the front.
And what about Inigo Anton? I mean, that's a driver that we've spoken about a lot in both Season 0 and in the first 2 races, or 2 rounds, I should say, of Season 1. We've bigged him up a little bit, and I feel like he's delivered in Race 1 and in qualifying.
Nakib.
No, Inigo.
Inigo, sorry.
Inigo. Top 4, top 5 for Inigo, I think it was.
Yeah, but you're right. They were a bit affected today, because normally we see Inigo going for pole. He didn't quite get a pole position. 4th position. I thought he'd be in the fight for the win, so yeah, maybe the fixed setup has affected him slightly.
Good. Fix fed. Change these rules every so often, Alex. Don't make it easy for the racers. That's the point. Get us rain. RaceRoom, get us rain.
Well, it's not going to be easy in Race 2 by any means. They have the Joker format with the fixed setup, and they're going to have that longer 30-minute race, and they're going to have tire strategy coming into play. So, as you were saying earlier, Alex, I'm looking forward to what kind of poker people will be playing. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the highlights from Race 1.
Okay, Race 1, we saw Poleman, Nakib Aslan get off the line well, and he led. But then this guy, Josh Perwin, in the black and red Black Arts car, then took the lead, and they were fighting back and forth. Actually, they were helping each other, trying to get away from these guys who are all battling behind him. Huge battles in the midfield, and because the front 2 worked well together, they were able to use the DRS and pull out a gap. That gap did close down right at the end because they were playing tricks with each other. No one wanted to lead over the line. And in the end, Josh led over the line this last lap, and that allowed Nakib to overtake him to take the win.
And pick up the fastest lap as well. 27 points then, the 2 extra bonus points. Perwin, Tadashi in P3. Inigo got 4 as expected. Aleef scrambling at 11 points. That will help him. Kalen Chin up there. Impressed that Presley's got another top 8 position. Jason Tay I like very much. And Hakimi, you look out for Mika Hakimi in race number 2, because he is suddenly driving very, very well.
All right, and ahead of Race 2, I'm going to hand it over to Alex and Des. Let's go and speak to some of the drivers on the grid.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we should speak to Josh. Josh Perwin from Australia and Black Arts. He did finish 2nd in that race, but he must be super disappointed. Let's see if I can get him first. There we are. Black Arts Racing. Josh Perwin.
Just coming, I think.
Tell us, but yeah, I know you must be disappointed. You're really looking forward to try and win your first C1 race. You got really close there. Take us through your race.
Well, I was a bit disappointed with qualifying. I made a bit of a mistake in my lap. I could have probably got pole, but anyway, front row was still a good start. Me and Nakib were kind of just playing DRS games, making sure we kept that gap to the cars behind. And to be honest, I just kind of wanted to get points for the team because we've had a very poor first 2 rounds. So on that second last lap, I knew that whoever was leading the last lap wouldn't win the race. But I was trying to kind of go a bit wide, see if Nakib would try and slot past me, but he was staying back and Inigo Anton almost caught up to us. So I played it safe, just got the 2nd place and brought home some points for the team.
Okay, so I mean, that's an improved performance. I mean, that's 2 races in a row now. You've been fighting for the win. Fighting for podium positions, but of course 2 very different races. The last race we had open setup, and this race we had fixed setup. So has it really affected your chances of staying at the front? Because you're still at the front.
Well, I think our setup is very good. So we knew that this round it might be a bit different, it might be a bit slow. But Watkins Glen is one of my favorite tracks normally. So I think as well, it's just a track that I enjoy. So I did a lot of practice for this, trying to get used to the fixed setuop. So yeah, I think we adapted quite well, but yeah, it is definitely a lot different.
That's right. I've seen you win. I've seen you dominate qualifying in races in other games at Watkins Glen. So, I mean, now we've got the race 2, obviously. You're going to start in P12. Think you can get to the front?
I hope so. In some other series, it's been kind of tough to get through the pack at Watkins Glen because it's the huge DRS trends that are created. So it'll be interesting to see if it's the same today. Because I know me and Nakib, in another series, we struggled to get through the pack because it's just everyone's just within that 1 second and no one can really overtake. But it might be different, so we'll just try our best and make sure to capitalize on any mistakes of anyone ahead.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Josh. I know you got to get ready for race 2. Good luck.
He speaks very well, doesn't he, Josh? He talked us through his whole strategy. I like the fact he was saying I just wanted to get some points on the board as well. Another who got points on the board, Akeem Tadashi.
Yes, Ayman. Good result there, P3. It looked like you were playing the strategy games a little bit and just waiting for the right time to strike? Was that what was happening?
Yeah, that's what I learned from Inigo himself from ERGP. So I can't. It's just that I don't really want to do some resting what he did in ERGP, so I can't improvise what he did, and that's about it.
Yeah. How was it with the car setup? Have you been struggling to get more to the front because we're at fixed setup, or do you prefer the fact that we're at fixed setup this weekend?
It can be double.
Double better or double worse? Or plus and minus?
Plus and minus. Okay. I mean, it's just going to show that, you know, without a setup, maybe a certain driver can adapt to the car or not. Some drivers did. Obviously, congrats to Nakib, he won the race, and Josh finished in P2 as well. So yeah, those two prove that, you know, you can fight without having a setup as well.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to ask you what you're going to do for race 2, but do you think a two-stop strategy could work?
I'm not so sure, if I'll be honest, but we can see in the race.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, obviously, Mika Hakimi, your teammate, we're not talking to him at the moment. How did Mika's race go? Because he was outside the top 10 for quite a while.
Obviously, he was doing a great job coming up for P16. I knew he had a bad qualifying, but he fought back. I know he's a fighter as usual. Yeah. He fought to the end of the race, so he managed to get into top 10, and now he's gonna start in P3 in the reverse grid. So there you go. It's a silver lining over there.
Yeah, and hopefully you can get up there to help him as well. Good luck.
Yeah, sure.
So we're definitely not going to be asking the drivers about their tire strategies anymore, but I'm going to ask you, Alex Young, what tire strategy do you think is going to work? Are we going to go hard? Are we going to go two-stop strategy?
I think it's going to go hard. I think everyone's going to try and do a one-stop strategy. If we're at times 4 tire wear today, I think two-stop might be the way to go, because it is tougher on the tires here. They say the last 2 races at Red Bull Ring and Hockenheim aren't as tough on the tires. But times 3 today, it's not as tough as times 4. I think they're going to go for a one-stop, hard. But I would love for someone to try and take a bit of a risk and try and do a two-stop strategy.
Well, we've seen some drivers take the risks on a normal race evening, but of course tonight we have that Joker format. Are we going to see some drivers play a Joker move when it comes to the strategy? Only time will tell. We have race 2 coming up very shortly, but first a quick commercial break. See you soon. Hey guys, and welcome back to round 3 of the E1 Championship Season 1 here at Watkins Glen. We've had a lot of argy-bargy and ping-pong, a lot of slipstreaming in Race 1. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in Race 2, and I predict a one-stop strategy, hard. That's what my money's on. We'll see. I like to be proven wrong. But we have Race 2 starting very shortly, and walking you through the action are Alex and Des in the commentary box.
Thank you.
Well, he's made a prediction there, Alex, but I tell you, just in the practice screen that we've got of the races, Tadashi, Ayman Hakim has been on soft compounds for the last 5 minutes.
And we've seen some other drivers like Nakib and Aleef on the medium compound. So, this is the last bit of practice for race 2. You wouldn't be practicing anything but the tyre you're going to be starting on. So there might be some different strategies going up and down the pit lane. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, so we are not far away. The guys are out on the practice. They get a minute and a half or so more. We had a chat. I'm loving the way that the guys are responding to the questions, because they're under a bit of pressure. They're driving, and then you're putting them on a Zoom screen and asking them live questions. They're telling us about race setup and tyre setup, and the adrenaline's pumping as well. It's all a big learning curve, this E1 Championship.
It is. And it's great that they're telling us about the race. Unfortunately, they're not telling us anything about the race setup or the strategy, because we'd love to know that, because we're guessing a little bit here on the commentary booth. But still, it's really good. It's good practice for them. And I tell you, but you know, I've noticed this thing with the sim drivers. The sim drivers, and it's probably the same for all esport athletes out there, you can do many things at one time. I've seen them just drive right at the limit and still have a full-on conversation. And they say they're used to it because they're used to driving and mum's coming in and asking them things. So they're used to multitasking anyway.
And it is very good. Very young people normally, but Daniel Rain-Oy, I'm really rooting for Daniel to pick up some points. So he finished down the grid once again. What do those at the bottom of the pack, how can they improve their drives?
Working, just keep working. Some of the teams, you can see they're starting to work with each other. So, because if you pool your resources, if you test together on the servers together, try different setups together, as long as you're open with it, you can help each other reach another level. And we see that happening with some of the teams. You know, Stratos Motorsports have 2 teams. I know sometimes they train with Flash. I know RSG sometimes train with other teams as well. So that's really what you need to do, just trying to spread your field to train with other teams and pool your knowledge.
Okay, we're just about ready. Practice is just about over. We're about to get into race number 2. We will try in this 30-minute race just to focus on those who are a little bit further down, the Leona Chins and the Wheel and Choice, because they're racing to the top of their capacity already. Of course they are. 55 seconds or so to go. So those who are picking up points, we will try and focus on them, Alex, and I'll try and ask you just to give us a little bit of insight into their thinking.
Absolutely. But anyway, we go. 40 seconds to go before the race starts. Nice having the little graphics. Watkins Glen. It's a beautiful day. We're approaching sunset, actually. And we're on for a reverse grid race.
Dan Woodruff is in isolation above us if you're watching on the screen. So, Dan, I hope you're all right. I hope the racing is making your COVID blues go away. It's great fun in the studio. Your seat is very tight, I've got to say, for my big bum.
Still alive. Highlight of my week.
Okay, the garage is gone. The reverse grid race, the top 13. So it's Jin Masvilton, who's a very, very useful racer. He will be...
see how he constructed. I just got to find his thing here. Team Flash. Aleef, what a great drive. You got to take us through that race. I think he's muted at the moment. See if we can talk to Aleef right now. Yeah, talk us through your race, man.
Wow, 7th place. Yeah, I mean, it was a roller coaster sort of race. You know, had a good start. You know, made my way forward to I think up to P2.
Yep.
And then after we got the gap in P1, my only focus was just head down and just lap after lap, because I know Nakib would be able to catch up at the end with all the DRS. So that was my main goal. You know, really to just head down, and thankful that it played out well.
Well, you still got a nice sizable gap in the championship, so well done there. But
Thanks,
how do you feel about the weekend so far? You didn't look very happy after qualifying in race 1.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying for me was scruffy. It wasn't the lap that I wanted, but it's fine. I mean, we had a good recovery to P5, which is all about this. You know, when you get knocked down, you know, you gotta find ways to recover back, which was pretty nice. But yeah, DRS train in race 1, that was crazy, and yeah, just pleased to come away with the win in race 2.
Okay. Well, I mean, well done, Aleef. Good damage control, shall we say. We look forward to seeing you at the next race.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Aleef from Nakib Aslam, from Josh Berwin. I'm an Akeem in P4. Love to hear their strategies of Berwin and Akeem. Jason Tay 5. Inigo Anton a good 6. Motono's getting better. Asmi in 8. Troy Iman 9. Joaquim Garrido in P10 for the GT Radial Your Asia Motorsport. Mohammed Nabil P11. Another good race. Okay, what we're going to try and do is we're just going to sort ourselves out, the standings, etc. And we'll send you up to the big man. Oh, he's over there. Oh, he's over that side, isn't he? Daniel, welcome back into the show. Enjoy that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, once again, Watkins Glen has delivered. My only bit of disappointment was me getting the winning tire strategy slightly very off. But I tip my proverbial hat to Aleef Hamilton for restarting his winning streak. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more orange at the front of the grid throughout the rest of the season. That is all of our racing done for tonight. But to everybody watching, don't go anywhere, as we have more analysis and highlights coming to you right after this break.
Last week at the Hockenheimring in Germany.
Nakib and Aleef having a great battle.
Ooh, contact between the two of them. Look how focused they both are. They look so focused right now.
Absolutely a belter of a race. We saw Aleef Hamilton with an absolute masterclass once again.
Amazing behind the wheel in anything he drives.
He is the benchmark.
The cars are getting closer and closer. Does Aleef have the line? Yes, he does. But Kalen on the switchback. Aleef will now go for it. He takes the lead for the first time in this race. It's Aleef who takes victory here at Hockenheim.
Race 2 was a roller coaster, you know, starting from P12 and moving up the order.
Aleef has managed to overtake Ayman Akeem for P2.
Here comes Aleef. He goes on the inside. Does he get it? But it's Aleef who takes the lead. And Nasi takes the lead. Aleef comes in second. He looks a bit disconsolate.
The other driver I thought was very impressive, Miko Nasi.
I think it was great to get a win in the second race.
Shouldn't have left the door open for Miko.
But Miko Nasi has shown to everybody else that Aleef can be beaten.
Nasi goes onto the inside. He pushes Aleef off. Aleef's off the second. And Nasi takes the lead. What an absolutely brilliant battle here. Nasi takes the win in race 2 at Hockenheim.
Kalen Chin.
He's one of the fastest young guns in the series.
Kalen on the outside. Does Aleef have the line? Yes, he does. But Kalen on the switchback gets back at him and he retakes the lead. What a move. What a move from Kalen. They go side by side.
Overall, Hockenheim was a pretty good week for me.
And Josh Perwin were pretty quick. So they were outstanding.
Excellent opening part of race 2.
Is there space? Yes, he is. Josh goes through and he just about squeezes through and he's up to P1. Josh Perwin there right now is running away at the moment. He's got a 2-second lead. He's pushing really hard though. Now Josh Perwin is looking good. Look, big gap between him, Mikonasi and P2.
I think as a team, we did everything right. We knew the strategy, we knew the fuel. It's just unfortunately that we had some punctures.
It was a tire puncture that led to his demise. Tonight's race at Watkins Glen, I think, is going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works.
We've not raced in this kind of track before on E1, so I'm really looking forward to it. Some long sweeping corners, a very high-speed chicane where you've got to ride the curb a lot. That can make it very tricky for the drivers.
Bumpier, it's a bit more raw. It's got hills and undulations, it's got camber, which means that the driving styles have to change a lot as well, and so do the setups.
We're making it even trickier because it's fixed setup tonight, and that's going to make it super exciting because all the cars are going to be identical.
I think this is a good circuit for the likes of Josh Irwin.
Watkins Glen is a great track to race at, so I'm really excited for this.
I'm expecting Team Safehouse to be a little bit creative.
It is going to be super interesting. It's fixed setup. That means it's all down to the driver, really.
We don't need to focus on setup more, so less time on fixing the car and more time fixing our driving.
Go head on, go very aggressive, and see if that brings us any good.
I hope I can fight within the top 10.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I foresee a lot of accidents happening.
It's going to be very tricky.
Whoever can prepare the most, who does the most practice. If they put in the miles, we know they'll be up there. Flash are one of those esports specialists, arguably one of the biggest teams in Southeast Asia.
Now for your world champions!
It's the first time they've come into E-Racing at the E1 Championship, and I've been shocked at how good they were.
I'm Aleef.
My name is Jason.
I'm Tasbi and I was the E1 Round 1 driver for Team Flash.
Flash have been quite clever. They've picked drivers who have got a lot of good experience, especially on the RaceRoom platform.
Aleef and Jason, they are both very experienced and very independent drivers. I can safely say that Aleef should be one of the favorites.
Aleef Hamilton really showed his worth in Season 0 as a guest driver.
The last run of E1 Season 0 in Bathurst, I think finished P5 or P4. Could have been better.
Aleef is a driver that extracts the fullest potential of any car he drives. He is consistently quick.
Coming into Season 1 with Team Flash and with his brother, they really cemented their name in the championship.
This is allowing Nakib to get away at the front. This is exactly what Aleef wants. His brother helping him out.
The two brothers, they did really well. They finished right at the front, both on the podium.
This is my first time joining E1 in a full season, and I did not expect myself to be consecutively in P1 for the first 3 races. I feel very satisfied to have started the season in such a strong fashion.
I've known Aleef since back in 2017. That was when I knew the fastest sim racer in Singapore.
Aleef Hamilton is leading the way.
Tasbi, he's going to try and help his brother. Jason Tay has gone up to 3rd place, doing a great job.
Aleef, who takes victory here, Hockenheim.
Mohammad Tasbi really made a name for himself in just the one round that he participated in.
I think I felt that I helped my brother quite a bit in Red Bull Ring. We work really well together and we get the best out of each other.
Jason Tay came in round 2, placed Tasbi, and he didn't finish on the podium, but he's always in the top 5.
My role is to, of course, get as many points as possible for the team and secure the next highest spot of the individual championship.
He knows where to attack and where to defend.
I'd be very surprised if Aleef keeps winning.
The race win goes to Aleef Hamilton, a race winner for the 2nd time. Aleef Hamilton.
I think that Team Flash's Season 1 E1 performance has been a bit lucky.
They've got 2 of the best drivers in Singapore.
I expected Team Flash to be right up there immediately.
You cannot underestimate these guys.
They're the Mercedes of E1 now.
I think we can go pretty far.
Let's battle it out on track.
See you on the track.
It would be fake of me to say that we are not looking to finish at least top 3.
Welcome back to the E1 Championship Season 1. Now, Team Flash is a team that we've seen a lot of in Season 1 so far. Of course, it's hard to miss those orange cars at the front of the grid. And right now, they're the single biggest threat to Stratos Motorsports in defending their team championship crown. Now, Alex, Des, we're very early on in the season, so it's too early to call. But which teams are in the best position to take Team Flash to the title fight?
Good question. I think Stratos Motorsport, obviously, you know, you saw today how well they did with Nakib as well. So it's going to come down to the second driver a lot, I feel. We saw how strong Mohammed Ibrahim is with Stratos Motorsport. So the two of him and Nakib can keep scoring good points. That'll be doing well. But Ibrahim did get disqualified in the second race just now, so that's going to affect their team total. But I think that's going to be a very close fight because at the moment, because Jason Tay did not have a great day today either. So both of those teams, the second drivers, didn't pull too many points today.
And Team RSG, of course, let's not forget them.
Yeah.
Team RSG, they've got Tadashi, who can be very, very quick.
Yeah.
He had a good race 1, not so good race 2, and I'm just expecting Mika Hakimi to explode, but he didn't on race 2 today. My prediction was wrong, so the dunce had for me today.
Well, we can take a look at Team RSG a little bit later on, but just one more question on Team Flash with the second drivers. Of course, Aleef's teammate Jason Tay struggling a little bit today. Do you think that this is just a one-off bad day, or do you think he really has to buck up to help extend his team's lead across the course of the season?
Well, it's a good question, but I think it might just be an off day. We saw a lot of drivers there with bit off days. Mika Hakimi had an off day. Inigo and Wacky Garrido, they didn't have very good days as well. So there was, I think, we did mix up the orders a bit going to this fixed setup. We saw some other drivers up there and doing well as well. So let's see how it goes next race. We see, obviously, we go back to open setups for the next race, and we'll see if he comes strong then.
All right, well, some drivers having an off day. Let's have a chat with 3 of our drivers who haven't had an off day. They've had a very good day. I'll hand it over to you, Alex, Jürgen, and Des, to speak to some of the drivers in our top 3.
Yeah. Well, should we talk to Josh? Let's go try to talk to Josh Perwin, shall we?
His strategy. I need to
Josh, we need to know about the strategy, because before the pit stop, you were a good couple of seconds behind the Nakib. Then after the pit stop, you did do a pit stop, didn't you? Did you?
Yeah, I did do a pit stop, yeah.
But after the pit stop, you were 2 seconds in front of Nakib. So what was the strategy there? How did you do that?
Well, I think it's just because we pitted a lot earlier, because those last laps on the hard, it's so difficult to get the lap time out of it. So, and I don't know how they got the hard soft strategy to work. The best that we could have done probably is hard to hard, because by the time that I pitted, I only had like 8 or 7% tire wear left. So I don't know how they did the extra 2 laps. But so we were kind of surprised that everyone stayed out a bit longer. And I think, I don't know, maybe they just lost so much time in those last couple laps in the hards that ended up paying good dividends for us in the end, and I think I was second for a bit there.
Yeah, so that was an undercut then. Okay, so the undercut strategy, because we missed you going in for that early pit stop. We thought you pitted at the same time as Nakib. So I actually thought you just pitted and changed the front tires. But yeah, so the undercut almost worked. Still though, 2 podiums. That's good. You got to be happy with that.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, I was definitely surprised, because we started, I think, like 12th, and I was struggling to make my way through the field at the start. But I think as all the drivers started to fall or get drive-throughs and just managed to overtake a few, we ended up in a good position. So yeah, really happy about that.
Yeah. All right. Good. So onwards and upwards onto the next race. Do you think you can get think you can get your first win in E1?
Yes, soon? Got the momentum going now, so it's possible.
Okay. Well done, Josh, mate. Look forward to seeing you next week.
The other one I'm really keen to hear about on strategy, because I didn't see him go in, was Akeem Tadashi. Or are we going to talk to Nakib and see how he went on?
Yeah, let's try and talk to Ayman Akeem after this, but let's talk to Nakib first. Let's see if we can talk to Nakib now. Hi guys, just coming into your Discord.
Hello.
Nakib, that was a good recovery, not bad up to second position. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, so knowing that the reverse grid, we knew this track was going to be difficult, especially with how strong the DRS is, so it's always going to be bunched up. And it was evident, in that first stint, really getting stuck behind the 2 JMX cars. So really just trying to stay patient and working through my way patiently. So yeah, I think the key was to take into account of the incident points and whatnot. And after the stop, I was really surprised how Josh jumped everyone. I think he had a massive undercut, but thankfully we had the decent strategy going on to the soft tires, being able to catch up to him and overtake him.
Could you have stopped any earlier and still put on soft tires, or were you out of soft tires in the end?
Yeah, it was really tight. I think we were really close on the tires, so
okay.
I think all in all, I think we scored some decent points for race 2. Aleef was a bit too far out of reach, sadly. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are the overall winner for round 3, so you will cut into that championship lead into Aleef. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think you can close down the gap for the end of the season?
Yeah, for sure. I think the aim for everyone, I think, in this championship is to win. So it's our aim, no different. But I think the important thing is to take it one race at a time.
Yeah.
a big relief that we got some decent points finally this round after some disappointing rounds previously. So hopefully can take that momentum into upcoming rounds.
Okay, well, good luck for the rest of the season. We'll see you next week. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Got to remind people that there's double points on the last round of the season.
Of course, double points.
Which absolutely demolish. If somebody goes in with a big lead and they have a bad last round,
Alex,
it's over. Okay, well, let's try and talk to Ayman Hakim. Tadashi, we were seeing you trying to. Were you trying to make a no-stop strategy work for the feature race?
No, I just made a very massive undercut.
Oh, you went for a very early pit stop, just like Josh. You went for the early pit stop. So how are the tire wear before the end of the race? You must be struggling.
Oh, you have no idea. When I saw Jason was chasing me like 2 seconds per lap, I was like, God damn it, these guys didn't even tell me that Josh is chasing me. Like, oh my god, I just had to look at it. I see like Josh, it was like what, 3 seconds, and the last was like what, 0.9, 0.8, like, dude, this guy.
How much tire wear did you have at the end? 0?
I don't know, as good as... I don't know, as good as Lewis Hamilton's 2008 when he still doesn't have a hair. 0.
So practically nothing. Well, anyway, well done. You got some good points today. Congratulations and good luck. See you next week.
See you as well, Alex.
See ya.
Exactly what he's feeling in that moment. Now let's take a little bit of a look back at race 2 at the highlights and then our top 10 results from that race.
Okay, so race 2, the reverse grid race, we saw Troy Ayman just disappear at the front, and he actually broke the DRS. We thought he was going to stay out for long, but then Aleef made it through, and only I think it was on lap 4. Did a great, first 3 laps were amazing, and then he was able to overtake Troy and left him. Troy just not able to go with him. Kalen Chin then had a great battle with Troy for second position, and then before he managed to pull away. Not a tidy pit stop for him though, and this allowed the Stratos guys, Nakib and Ibrahim, to get up in front of Josh Perwin. Ibrahim on the last lap got disconnected for going over the incident points, but anyway, back at the front, Aleef won the race with Nakib second and Josh third.
Aleef Hamilton back into winning form, 25 points for him. Nakib second, 2 podiums for Josh Perwin today. Tadashi in a P4. Jason Tay, I think we underestimated him, a P5 for him, and 11 points. Inigo Anton, another top 6 position for Inigo. Very, very good. 2 Filipinos in the top 10. Joaquim Garrido with his best result for a while, picking up 6 points for P10. Overall for today then, Naki picking up 52 points. That's not too shabby, is it? He's just 5 shy of the perfect race weekend. 52 out of a possible 57. Josh Perwin 40. Aleef is human. A 0 and a P5 in race 1 and then 25 in race 2, just to say he's superhuman human. Tadashi picks up 30 points. Inigo, a very good weekend for him as well with 26. Jason Tay picks up at 18. So does Presley. Fadley in the points as well. And Aleef and Troy Ayman, Scuderia, Stratos both picking up 12 apiece. Still got improvement, but that's their best weekend by quite some way.
Looks like the Joker format delivered in race 2 as well as race 1 and qualifying. We might need to bring this back to other rounds, Alex.
Yeah.
You can have a word with the rest of the team as race director. Now, looking forward to next week, our next race at round 4. We're going to be leaving that part of the world. We're going to go back to Asia. We haven't been to Asia yet. We're going to go to Suzuka in Japan. Now, that's one of my favorite tracks, but I also know that's one of your favorite tracks, Des. Why is that so?
I've got to say it's mainly for motorbikes. I've done a lot of commentary on motorbikes up there, and it is a beautiful, beautiful circuit. It's undulating, you've got long straights, big parabolic curves, and just coming into the final straight, a chicane that would terrify any mortal person. I'm assuming it's terrified you in the past, Alex.
Absolutely, all the time.
It's a wonderful circuit.
Well, I don't like to talk about those 2-wheel racers. We talk about 4-wheel racers on this show. But I do agree, it is a beautiful circuit with some of the best fans in the world. Japanese fans are the best. Of course, we have them digitally in the show. Alex, have you raced there before?
Oh, many times indeed. Yeah, it's a great track. It's up and down and very fast corners. A little bit like Watkins Glen. Hard to overtake, but still a great challenge.
All right, well, you have that experience at Suzuka. Why don't you walk us through the track and give us a little bit of a sneak peek?
Okay, so obviously it is actually a difficult track to get on top of. It is hard. You see how close the barriers are. You make a small mistake, you're in the barriers, big accidents, destroying cars. So it's one that really commands utmost respect. And if you're not confident, if you're not dialed into this track, you tend to be way off the pace. Here we have some of the corners here. It's also the only figure of 8 track in the world at the moment. Well, at least it is as the only figure of 8 grade 1 track in the world.
Well, I can't wait for next week to come about because I get out of my quarantine and Suzuka comes about, my favorite track on the calendar. Before we get there, let's wrap up the show by taking a look at the overall championship standings after round 3.
Okay, so it's Aleef leading by 137 points, but Nakib has really dug into that lead. 107 points for him. Tadashi edging out Mohammed Ibrahim. I tell you what, that race 2 disqualification hurt Ibrahim. Remember, you can drop one round of points. Josh Perwin. Josh is coming good. 58 points for him. This season is by no means over, but Aleef and Nakib are the 2 superstars so far after 3 of 8 rounds. Team standings. Well, Aleef and Jason Tate accumulated 209 points. That is 40 clear of Nakib and Mohammed Ibrahim, who really is a quiet accumulator of points. Also making it up to the 100-point mark, Miko Hakimi and Tadashi. And ERacing GP, Jin Masvilton and Mohammed Nabil. That's a great performance because those guys have got to qualify before they are able to race. So great consistency, and glad to see that Josh and Alistair, who raced today, are in the top 5 as well. There's some good races there. 1, 2 and 3 though, all above 100 points after 3 rounds. Very impressive.
And that's all we have for tonight, folks. You can catch more of our action at Suzuka in Japan at round 4, the same time next week. That's 9 p.m. on Wednesday on the EGG network. Also, don't forget to follow us on our Facebook pages, on the E1 Championship and the EGG network. My special thanks to Alex and Des in the studio. I'll see you gents there next week. I'm Daniel Woodruff. Take care. Be safe.